Hello, and welcome to episode 44 of Friends of the Show. I am Stephen W. Skinner, and this is a podcast where I get to know some of the nicest and funniest people from the internet. They are the Friends of the Show. This week's friend is the Todd Williams, a legendary tweeter who also happens to reside in our local city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Todd was so great to talk to. He shared stories about growing up in Canada, how he left school to join a rock and roll band, wild, and we have a lot of fun answering the many questions submitted by our listeners. Thank you, listeners! Be sure to follow at FOTS Pod on Twitter and send your questions for a future guest. Now it's Friends of the Show, episode 44, with the Todd Williams.
I have no name. I am but 2 days old. What shall I call thee? I happy am. Joy is my name. Sweet joy befall thee. Infant Joy by William Blake.
Sweet joy befall thee. William Blake. All right, what a great poem. I think that's the first poem chosen as a quote, so well done. Really? And welcome to the podcast, Todd.
Well, thank you for having me, Stephen.
All right, now for the listeners, Todd is a great and very funny and also prolific Twitter joke writer who also happens to reside in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Shout out. Todd's tweets are legendary as his account. Everyone has surely seen his statuesque AVI or has seen his tweets here, there, everywhere, stolen all the time. He was also in a rock band. He's a parent. He enjoys coffee. And I'm very happy to have him on the show this week. Welcome at the Todd Williams.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right.
Yes, so I am prolific.
Prolific tweeter. I'm very excited to have you. Yeah, one of the most popular, I would say, friends of the show in terms of sheer numbers of followers and great tweets. So yeah, really happy to finally get you on the show. Ooh, a big get for the show.
Well, we've been trying for a while, and I was just very lazy and getting back to you, I think.
Well, I know you're a very busy individual, and that's 100% fine. But yeah, finally, very happy to finally nail it down and get you here. So tell us more about yourself. I know you're a little bit mysterious, shrouded in a bit of mystery. So let's pull back the curtain a tiny bit, but not too much. So tell us your story. Where you from? Where did you grow up? How do you like your coffee? We'll get into it.
Am I really that mysterious? I don't think I'm that mysterious. You know, I have my name right there, which, of course, is a big mistake probably. But
that's true. You're one of the real namers.
Like you, yeah.
Yep.
I wasn't foolish enough to give my middle name, but sorry, my middle initial.
Middle initial, huge mistake. Well, you know why I do that, right? I've mentioned it before. It's just so I'm distinguished between myself and the accused murderer, Stephen Skinner, who was
the bad Stephen Skinner.
The bad one from Canada, and he's currently about to go on trial for the murder of Lacey Adams, and it's bad. And that's why I have the W. I'm not that guy.
Well, here's some of the. Not very mysterious. I'm Canadian like yourself. Woo. I come from northern Ontario, a little town called a little city actually, Sault Ste. Marie.
The Sioux.
The Sioux, or the sewer. It's been called, or the armpit of Ontario.
So it's pretty far north. Like, Ontario is very big for the listeners. It's a very large province. So Toronto is sort of down there in southern Ontario. And then you got to travel north several hours. How many hours is it by car? Is it?
About 8 hours.
It's an 8-hour drive up north to get to the Sioux. Yeah,
it borders Michigan. So we're very, we're north, but there's so much more north than us.
Right, it keeps going. Canada keeps going up.
Yeah, so I'm from the Sioux, we'll call it, and I grew up there, a son of a Canadian mother and an American father.
Ooh, international.
Yeah, very international. He's from Kentucky, my father.
Oh.
So that's kind of it was always a strange thing. being in Northern Ontario and your father was from Kentucky.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Did
My
you know
friends
the
used to always
colonel?
say, what is your father's accent? And I was like, what are you talking about? My father doesn't have an accent. I didn't realize that he had an American accent because I was just so used to it.
Oh, you didn't realize, but he did have one.
I just thought, no, I didn't. It didn't stick out at me when my friends would just be totally taken away by it. Because Kentucky is, of course, as I got older, I kind of clued into it, but it was a very strange growing up.
It's like the Colonel Sanders accent, right? It's pretty southern, a southern drawl.
Yeah, it's pretty southern. His kind of faded away over the years, but when we visit our relatives down there, it's pretty strong. Yeah,
love a good accent. So yeah, you grew up north, and how'd you make it down here?
Well, came first to Toronto to go to university, engineering school.
Very fancy.
So I was in it. I was in school, and then I decided I was going to go back to Sault Ste. Marie because I didn't like it in Toronto, and I wasn't enjoying my course. I think I was just, I just wasn't convinced of what I was doing. But anyway, I was going to go back, and meanwhile, I'd been a musician in kind of bands growing up in high school and playing in bars and in the Soo and around that area. So I went back to the Soo, and then a friend of mine who was in a band in Toronto called me up in the Soo and said, you have to come back to Toronto. We need a bass player. And so I just dropped everything, and I came back to Toronto.
Grabbed your bass. Boom, boop, boop, boop.
Grabbed the bass, grabbed the amp, got on a Greyhound bus, and came to Toronto. And I've been here ever since.
Wow, so that was the beginning of your rock star lifestyle?
That was the beginning of the rock star lifestyle that I had, kind of.
So what era are we talking about? What was the year and the span of this?
This was
tour life.
This is kind of on the hard edge of hair band time. This is like 1989, 1990. 1990, yes. I think I moved. 1990 was when I joined that band, I think. Yeah.
Good year. Things were really popping off.
Yeah, so, a very exciting move for me coming from a small town to come and join, they were a somewhat established band in Toronto and the area, and they played some gigs, and they just recently opened up for Iggy Pop.
Lust for life.
I said, oh my God, I'm going to join a band that just opened up for Iggy Pop.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that would be very exciting. So, they had already grinded it out, so now they're sort of getting gigs. So you didn't have to really do that hard grind where you're...
No, I had to just come, I had to move here and learn all the songs and then get ready to play some gigs that they already had booked. So I'd never heard them before. I didn't know any of the music, but and I wasn't even convinced that I liked them.
Yeah.
It was so fast, but I just made my decision and I stuck with it. So it was I wouldn't, I think it was a great decision. It certainly changed my life.
Changed your life, turned you into a rock star overnight. So then you're on stage around town. You're in the van? You guys are lugging gear gig to gig, loading in?
We had a roadie and everything, yeah.
You had a touring guy?
We played around Toronto, and we played around Southern Ontario, and then we played across Canada one time. We got a couple of vans and all of our equipment, and we played ourselves all the way up to Vancouver and back.
Wow, yeah, that's the whole country. So what was the...
it kind of fell apart.
What kind of shows were you playing? Like, how big are these venues? You're playing, like, bars, or are you playing, like, middle-sized rock clubs?
We would play mostly, I guess, bar, what would be, maybe mostly bars, but, the kind of bars that are typically, with a stage and playing bands.
Yeah.
So we opened up some shows for other people in the areas, or we played at the Moosehead Lodge in Estevan, Saskatchewan, in the middle of nowhere. So some gigs like that, but it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah, that's pretty great. So what was your biggest or most memorable show, would you say?
I guess maybe we played, To be honest, none of them were really super that memorable on that trip. It was just more or less the experience.
Better if you said, those days are pretty hazy, man. It's real hazy.
Well, I think maybe that's what it is. I'm trying to think back on it. But I remember making it to Vancouver and playing at a bar a club in Vancouver, opening up for a band. They had a pretty good following in the area, I guess, and so there was a lot of people there, and also we had a video.
Oh yeah, that's big.
Before we went on the road, we had a video, and it was playing on Indie Street on Much Music, which was like an independent band show that was on Much Music, which is like the Canadian MTV at the time. So we were in Vancouver, and they had like there was like Much Music West, and they promoting our show that we were going to be playing in Vancouver, and then they played our video, and we were sitting in this bar watching our video on Much Music in Vancouver, and so that was just a very memorable.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's like you guys looking around, cheersing, and you guys are videos on the TV, like hearing your song on the radio.
Yeah, it was like the equivalent of, I don't know if you remember that movie. It's with the band, and it's
That Thing You Do.
The Thing You Do.
Yeah.
And they're running down their radio. Their song comes on the radio, and they're running all down the street, and they're it's us, and they're pointing at the radio. So that was kind of
it's the Oneaters.
The Oneaters, exactly. Yeah. Wow. So it was it is a little hazy, to be honest.
I bet. All right. Well, I think people have questions about that later in the show, so we'll get into it again.
Right on.
All right. Well, do you remember the BT140 podcast? That was fun. We were both on that. Shout out to Del Freaky in that.
I did.
Yeah, you did it, right? How long ago was that?
Yeah. That was it had to be over a year ago.
Yeah. About that for me too. Over a year ago. Very fun. Sad to see that podcast go away, but everyone can still check out I Am Del Freaky and all the old episodes.
Yeah, actually, I co-hosted with him once when Professor Hinckley.
Yes, Professor Hinckley. The old
Professor Hinckley.
Yeah, Travis was on, friend of the show. And I think we have a question coming up from him a little later. So I guess we kind of covered your touring life with the rock band, so that's great. Skip right over the story part and get right into the nitty-gritty, talking Twitter. All right, so it says here, you have been on Twitter since December 2011, so about 7 years, I guess.
I guess, I started this account, which is why actually it has my name on it. Like I started it as my wife had something with work where they were doing tweets about something, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. Because you have to go on and you have to join or follow or do something, whatever it was. I wasn't even sure, and it's just like, okay, I'll do it. And that was 2011, and I never looked at it again until I think the end of 2014. So realistically, I've been on about 4 years.
So you joined early to support your wife, which is very nice, to vote for her in a contest or something, and then, or did you have to get a certain number of followers maybe? And so then you just
I think you had to retweet something, yeah.
Oh, you had to retweet, yes. Well, I hope she won the contest.
It was for work. It was a promotion that they were doing, so it was just they wanted numbers, and so I did it.
It's a numbers game. Social media, the numbers are up.
And then I forgot that I had it, and then I was reading some newspaper thing, and it had somebody's tweet, and actually I mentioned it. I think you may come to it at a certain point, and I thought, well, that's very funny. I got to go check this out, and I'm like, oh, that's right, I have an account, and so then I went and I just kind of resurrected it.
Right, I hope you followed that person whose tweet you saw.
I did, and I still do.
Nice. And we'll get to that later in the show. A lot of great teases happening here.
That was a tease.
So really, 2014. So, wow, your meteoric rise has happened over the last 4 years, I guess, or so. Yeah, pretty great. So that's when you started. Did you start right away with Turl and Jerks, or would you reply to people? How did you get started? Were you doing hashtags?
I think I totally gapped on the whole hashtag. I was replying to a couple of people, but I would occasionally just do these strange, one-liners, little silly puns. But, some at replying. And then kind of, of course, you start seeing the little accounts that are doing it, and you start following them. And then they have little, send us tweets. So I was, sending them my tweets, little tweet calls.
That's right.
And then it just kind of, builds from there.
It builds, especially if you have the great content like you do. Your tweet's very funny, and, keep improving. And you cover all the different formats, and you're very prolific, like I mentioned before. So you have a lot of stuff that you could send to people on tweet calls.
Yeah, I nothing stops me. Like I have a very low threshold for what I will. I'll tweet practically anything. I tweet quite a bit, and I delete a lot of tweets too.
Right,
so
and
I just throw them there.
You're allowed to do that because you got to throw stuff at walls and see what sticks. So it's
the ones that have gone really well are ones that I just was like, what? I can't believe that happened. It just comes in your mind, you tweet it, and then it does very well. And one that you grind over and you think, oh, I'm going to fix this. It's just a big dud.
So you never know. You really
just
never
don't
know. All right.
You don't know.
You never know, folks. All right. So here's a question.
I don't know.
Here's a question for you about Twitter. What was your first / most memorable interaction on Twitter?
Like an early memory or something on Twitter.
So the first time when you're just like, that.
Oh, I know what it was. Yeah, I one time I did a tweet, and somebody, I think somebody had a tweet call, and it was Rebecca. I can't remember. Something calling jerks. Something. What's that? What's her name now? I can't remember.
Oh, crappy stuff for jerks.
Yeah, that's the one. And she retweeted a tweet of mine, and Joss Whedon faved it.
Joss Whedon. As all the listeners surely know, Joss Whedon, creator of the Buffy TV show, or showrunner for that, and director of the first Avengers movie.
Yes.
Key credits for him, among other things.
I didn't know all that, but I didn't even know who it was really. But it was like this big account. I saw it, and it was I think they were verified. I thought, who's that? And I was just fascinated by it's such Twitter levels the playing field in some ways. It's you can just have contact with people who are, and so it's a real equalizer.
Yeah, I think on the last episode, Blaine Capatch said it turns your idols into friends and friends into idols or something.
That's interesting, yeah.
Very interesting. So I get that. Yeah, so Joss Whedon, shout out.
Oh,
very good.
The tweet was, I think it was one of those, who called it something. It was
classic format we all know.
Yeah, it was I think it was the who called it mutant DNA and not Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder, what a great one.
That was it.
Gene Wilder, everyone.
Gene Wilder, wild gene, mutant DNA.
Do you get it? A to B right here.
There you go.
And why didn't they call it that? We'll never know.
So that's the kind of quality you can expect.
But you never know. And then Joss Whedon's scrolling his feed, and he's like, Gene Wilder. You gave him a little laugh, and there you go. The cycle continues. Exactly. All right, so how about what is the weirdest thing that's happened? Got any weird stories? Any weirdos sliding into your DMs? Any people quote tweeting you and not understanding a joke? A lot of people replying to you angrily with your name.
Well, I guess that last one I can say, I do, I don't know if it'd be weird, but I get, I do a lot of political, stuff where I'm, very, it's kind of tongue in cheek but a little nasty, edgy. I try not to be overtly mean, but I try to have a, kind of a backhanded.
You know what criticism. That is, Todd? It's your half American coming through. It's your American side peeking out.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I stick my So I get jumped on quite a bit. Even just recently about tweets that have particular subject matter. Gun control or politics.
It's a hot political climate right now. We're
living in so you know how it is.
2018.
And, but I try to, I try to play dumb a little bit and not get too engaged. But sometimes I snap.
Oh yeah, you snap at like the trolls who try to come at you.
Yeah. So I'll snap at them. And,
yeah, you got to get it out. Use that block finger.
Yeah, occasionally. I don't really block a lot, actually.
Just live and let live.
Yeah.
That's good.
I think that gives them too much satisfaction when you block them.
That's true. That could be it.
I'm more likely to mute them or even just mute the conversation.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's different ways of doing it. Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. All right, now how about an interesting or fun interaction with a celebrity or brand? You get interacting with brands much? Because they're out there. Nowadays, more than ever, brands are alive online.
Yeah, I just recently got followed by Steakums, I think.
Steakums.
He seems to be, he or she is running that. I think they're really they're really kind of getting themselves right into that weird, fun joke Twitter zone there. So
yeah, I think they're following a lot of fun, weird Twitter accounts and try and emulate their fun styles. Yeah.
But I had one that was really exciting to me in a way. I did a tweet, and within 5 minutes or so of tweeting it, I get it starts to be boom, boom. I'm getting all these hits. What is going on? And I look for retweets, and there's no no big retweet, but it had been replied to by Chrissy Teigen. And she said, I want this to have 1 million retweets or 1 million likes by the end of the day. So she really liked the tweet, so she was saying that. She didn't retweet it, mind you.
She did not, which, as is her style, right?
That's her style. That's
her feed is 100% Chrissy Teigen.
Is it? She was, I don't think she retweets very much, but she comments, and she's a joy on Twitter.
She's definitely active, and she's great with the clapbacks, as the kids say.
That's right. She's fun. She's funny. It's fun.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's fun. People.
And she follows me. So
she does. Oh, that's great. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
That but she follows me, but she'd never said anything to me before. She'd never, I didn't expect any. I have a couple follows from people that are, there's some of the people that are up there like. Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, creator of Hamilton.
Yes.
Yeah,
he follows me, but he doesn't talk to me or anything. He talked to some people, but so being actually interacted with was quite fascinating.
It's so cool. Yeah, and she has a huge following herself and her husband. They're right out there in the public sphere. So even things that she'll she just replied to that. So only people who are following both of you would see it unless you just look at all of her tweets, which a lot of people do. They scroll through her timeline and see who she's talking to. And that's how they got to your tweet too. So it's really really neat to see. It's a roundabout way of promoting your tweet.
Yeah, so she didn't retweet it, and it ended up with 30,000 likes or something. It didn't make 1 million.
It's her reply is as good as 100 or 50 other people's retweets.
Exactly.
Wow. Well,
so it's fascinating.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm so interested in all the hugely followed accounts, and how brands are interacting with people on Twitter. So, very neat. And you got some big ones, obviously.
Couple
big ones. So, speaking of, who is someone who you would like that doesn't currently follow you back? This is the question. Who is your dream follow back? Someone you currently follow who doesn't follow you back. Real person, real account. Who is it?
Well, I think one of the first persons I followed was Neil deGrasse Tyson.
A scientific mind.
Yeah, so I was following him, and I think I follow him. I still follow him. And when you go to your page of people that you follow, and you go all the way down to the bottom, and you can see who you followed very early on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very interesting. So he's right there. So, but I think because he's such, he himself is like a meme. There's so many jokes about him. There's so many, funny caption pictures of him, there's the typical format joke of Neil deGrasse. I do a lot of them. I think I have a moment of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Somebody will say something like, they'll say, there'll be a song, and then he'll refute it. He'll kind of give it a strange actually. I kind of have to.
Yeah, like a Neil deGrasse Tyson over literal interpretations of things. Or
Exactly.
like he's always debunking or like taking the fun out of things. It's sort of like what he's known for. He'll like debunk like this science of a sci-fi movie or something. He's been known to do. So yeah, it's a reputation well earned. So it didn't come out of nowhere. But those Neil deGrasse Tyson ones are pretty funny.
Yeah. So I think that if he followed me, that would be fun.
Oh, that's a great pick. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Be sure to check out Star Talk Radio, his podcast. It's very good. All right.
Check out my Neil deGrasse Tyson moment.
Yeah, and check out Todd's Neil deGrasse Tyson moment. Maybe there'll be a link in the show notes.
I'm getting the plug in for my moment.
Plug the moment. Make sure to send me the link, and I'll add it to the show notes. All right, so now we get to the final talking Twitter question, and that is, who would be your ultimate dream follow back? Now I'm talking any person, real or fictional, living or dead.
That's a great question. Living or dead? And they don't have to have they could be historical. They could be anybody.
Real or fictional as well. They could be a fictional person, yeah.
I think I'm going to say, because I could just imagine great tweets coming from this guy. I'm going to say Elvis Presley.
Elvis. I'd imagine him as kind of like a all caps guy, or just like stream of consciousness. Doesn't care, has no filter. Something like that.
He'd be promoting shows in Vegas.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Accidentally tweeting like inappropriate pictures.
Only tweets with EP are from me, man.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Man, tweets signed texts are not Elvis.
Exactly.
All right, well, you've made it through the Talking Twitter segment, so that brings us to your tweets. All right, I'm talking about tweets from the Todd Williams on Twitter, and let's get into them. This one that you've picked, this first one, is one of my favorites. So maybe we can act it out together. It is a scene of a job interview.
Oh, okay, that one.
You can be you, and I will be boss. So the scene is job interview.
Time travel.
What is your biggest strength? What?
Yeah. I time traveled, and I told you the answer.
Oh, that is great. That is a classic. It's the first one of those that I'd seen with the sort of time travel format, where you're answering the question before it comes up with the power of time travel. And, one of the greats from 2015, y'all.
2015, yeah. So the reason I picked that one is because it was probably one of the first ones that I ever had that just got immediate response. And it was just like getting, I just couldn't believe the reaction I was getting. And so it really stuck to me. Somebody did a little cartoon of it and sent it to me. And
oh, that's awesome.
And people were making comments on it. Oh, this was great. Oh, this is fantastic. I sure, so it really was kind of one of those first, like, wow, this is the instant gratification I can get out of Twitter.
That's exactly right. You were getting notifications. People were liking it. People were retweeting it. It's over 10,000 retweets on this bad boy. Great tweet. All right.
But the ratio of the times are so much different. Like, it's 10,000 retweets and 15,000 likes. So that's like, it's unheard of now.
That's a 2/3 proposition there. And normally it's 1/3 or less, would you say?
Yeah. I would say even less than that now.
Yeah,
you get a lot more likes than retweets.
And the algorithm is messing with stuff. It's changing the order of tweets. People are liking it. And if you like a tweet, it could show up in someone else's feed just because you like it and they follow you and they might like what you like. But it is wreaking havoc with with everyone's tweets.
Yeah,
right?
It's like somebody will like this.
Yeah, we're like, what does that have to do with my timeline?
Well, there it is in your timeline, yeah.
Speaking of your political tweets, we got an extra tweet here, and it is this one. Trump. Let's get that Muslim band going. Band? We thought you said ban. No way, that's harsh. Also, how's that Mexican mall coming? It was just misheard this whole time. He's not really the worst of all time. It's just he's misspeaking.
It's just a big misunderstanding.
1 million misunderstandings on top of each other.
Well, I tweeted this on November 9th, 2016, which is the day after the election.
Oof.
So this is when people were just waking. So this is at just after noon on 9th of November.
We all remember that day and where we were,
Yes.
and the general vibe was negative. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in Canada, and it was like a huge downer.
Exactly.
It was like just everyone was like hungover, but with anger.
Yeah, I hardly slept that night. I can recall it was. And so anyway, I did this tweet in the morning, and then right away, everybody was like on top of it, like, oh, like everybody was like, oh, I wish this were true. I wish, I wish this was, I wish it was a misunderstanding.
I think that's it. You really hit the zeitgeist moment with something that people could at least kind of laugh at,
Yeah.
It's the little things. Can't laugh at a lot of the things with that, but Mexican Mall.
The Mexican Mall. He's going to build a Mexican Mall.
He could. I mean, the deals. That would be great. Ponchos alone. All right. So we got one more tweet here coming from the Todd Williams. It's a bonus tweet. It is my pick from his tweets. And I want to give a special honorable mention to I need that fairy tale on my desk ASAP.
Yes.
That's probably one of my favorites of all time. But my tweet that I've selected to read on the show is this. Superman could have become a doctor using his X-ray vision to detect life-threatening tumors. But no, we really needed another journalist. I bet you got a lot of flack for this bad boy.
Oh, I got a lot of flack from journalists.
I guess.
I got a lot of flack, and I got so much flack from, Superman aficionados. It's kind of like the cast of The Big Bang Theory, when they argue about, if Superman was, if Lois Lane was falling from a building and he caught her at the bottom, her spine would crack. And so they had all these kind of,
get Neil deGrasse Tyson in here. Let's
Right.
debunk some stuff.
Exactly. So I had so many reasons why Superman couldn't be, what if he's in the middle of a surgery and something happens? So.
Well, it's a great tweet, and everyone should be following at the Todd Williams on Twitter for more tweets just like these.
Thank you. Yes.
All right, now we get into your picks from others. So, do you have them handy? Let's read some of these picks. You got the Keith one? We could do a back and forth one.
Okay, I'll be the mob boss.
Okay, and I will be Keith.
Okay, the mob boss. Stick his body in the compost pile.
What?
Grabbing your collar intently. We might be killers, but you only got one oit.
We might be killers, but you only got one oith. That is correct. It's,
so he actually spells it earth, but I put the oith.
It's a mob boss, right? So that is to be expected. And great tweet from Keith at Ghost Crow, Krogh. Everyone should be checking him out. Really funny stuff. We only got one Earth. I mean, it's a great message. It's an ecological message. Truly sustainable.
He's a green mob boss.
One of those, eco-friendly mob boss killers.
That's right.
Great tweet.
I love Keith. He's great.
Keith's great. And everyone give him a look on Twitter. All right, your next tweet is from LOHEL at LOHEL on Twitter. And the tweet is this. The popular 70s, 80s drama Chips was adapted from the British show Constables of the Royal Imperial Street Patrol System, or Crisps. Because they call them crisps. Right, British people listening? You call them crisps. You can't deny it. They're potato chips, but you still say crisps. So this is a very funny tweet from L.
Oh, I love this. When I read it, I was like so angry that I had not written this tweet. It was there for the taking,
She just had to put it all together. She put all the pieces together.
She put it all together, and I was like, Actually, I replied to it. Like, if you look at that tweet, my reply is right there, and my reply is, damn!
All right, we got one more tweet here that you have selected from the internet, and I'm guessing this is the tweet that you mentioned. See?
Yeah, this is the one I I don't know what article it was, and it just had, or tweets of the week or something on some page of the newspaper or something, and I saw this tweet, and I just thought, well, this is fantastic, and so the tweet is from 2012, but I don't think I saw it until around 2014 or so. But should I read it?
Please do.
Okay, it's from internet, or it's from Twitter sensation and general all around funny guy Rob Delaney. And it's a quote, and it's terrific. And that's Mitt Romney every time Jar Jar Binks appears on screen.
Terrific.
Terrific. Like, it's such a subtle dig at...
It's covering a lot of bases. It's political, but it's not at all. It's absurd.
It's just, it's so funny.
Great job. Yeah, Rob Delaney, one of the good ones. He was like one of the original guys who like blew up through Twitter as his choice of medium, and then now he's on the TV shows in the UK and whatnot. Very good.
Yeah, I think that it said something. I think now that I think it said from the funniest man on Twitter, Rob Delaney. And
yeah, he got that. Yeah, he was definitely that.
He's the funniest man on Twitter.
All right. Well, thank you. We've made it through all the tweets. Now we get into everybody's favorite segment. It is questions from Twitter. And
Excellent.
Todd, you will be happy to hear that you are the new record holder for most questions asked. So thank you to everyone who sent a question to Todd and at FOTS Pod on Twitter to send your question for a future guest. All right. So let's get into these. It could be a while. All right. First question comes to us from friend of the show, Mark McGark at Markedly on Twitter. And don't forget to check out at McGarkPod. And this is not a question. It is a demand. And he demands, walk me through a day in the life of grade 9 Todd.
Grade 9 Todd.
This is me in grade 9, baby. Yeah.
This is me. Wow, so that's going way back. Like way, way back, as you know. Well, let's see. That could be a really long answer. So let me try to
bullet points, Todd. Bullet points.
Bullet points. So so grade 9. I'm living in Sault Ste. Marie. I'm going to assume that it's winter. It's very cold. So I get up and I have a large hot chocolate and a number of buttered toast. So that was my meal throughout all of high school.
That was your go-to breakfast, buttered toast and hot chocolate?
And hot chocolate.
All right.
And I used to dip it.
You dip in the toast in the chocolate?
I would, yeah.
Nice.
And then I would watch, we had this little thing that told us the weather, what the temperature was. So usually it would be, I remember looking at it, it would be minus 26.
Ugh.
So you would wait until it turned to minus 25. You'd hope. And if it did, then you were out the door. Like, let's go, it's warmed up. So you'd walk numerous kilometers to school. And then it was probably just a regular grade 9 life of anybody.
The curriculum. What do you got packed in your lunch box?
The cafeteria we'd buy. I'd probably have pizza at lunch, with a large Coke probably.
Mm-hmm.
Our cafeteria had very good pizza.
Ooh, that's good.
And then we'd be out between classes smoking cigarettes. Probably I smoked a lot of cigarettes too.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And then maybe some volleyball, or no, let's see, what we were playing in the winter.
Volleyball.
I don't know, just trying to think what we were doing after school, what sport would be, So in certain times of the year, you'd have football, then you'd have hockey. And I didn't really play hockey, so I probably just went home after school and made sure we had enough bread and milk in the fridge for my hot chocolate and toast the next morning. It's pretty much it, because it'd be dark by the time I was coming home, right? So.
Yeah, nothing much you can do. It's dark at 4 o'clock or whatever.
Exactly. And then I was in grade 9, so I was just kind of probably starting in with music a little bit too. So I'd playing some music at the time, and
so you get home and maybe noodle around a little.
Noodle around a little bit, yeah.
Nice.
So it was just in the burgeoning years before the seeds of a rock star were growing.
What were some of the early influences? What were you playing back at that time? Do you remember?
Oh, I was a big Beatles fan.
Shout out to Keith again.
the music at the time, we were playing like Stray Cats and The Clash and, and then some, David Bowie, Iggy Pop, kind of a little bit of the more new wave of stuff, the Jam.
Ooh, the Jam.
Things like that.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. Grade 9 Todd. So thank you very much, Mark, for that great question. Or demand, rather.
I don't think anybody really wanted to know about my grade 9 day, but
well, I think Mark did, and I'm glad that we all know now.
Yeah.
Butter and toast with chocolate milk for dipping.
Yeah.
Hot chocolate, rather. All right. So the next question comes in from friend of the show, Dave Cactus, at Dave_Cactus. Dave asks, are you coming to my birthday party, you big handsome lug?
I might go to Dave's birthday party.
It's very exciting. If anybody who's listening, if it hasn't happened yet, Dave's having a big birthday party, and everyone's invited.
Yeah, he's doing it up, and he's in Colorado.
Yeah, just head on out if you can.
Yeah, so that's quite a ways though. So I don't know. I have to really.
It's a lot of planning.
Really
yeah, you really gotta. That's a lot of logistics to work through. Yeah.
Yeah.
But very exciting nonetheless, and happy pre-birthday to Dave. And we'd all love to be there, yes.
Yeah.
All right, he has a follow-up question. Do you have any tweets about science? Oh, it's a joke. It's got to be joking, because you do.
I have lots of tweets about science.
You're a science-minded individual.
I'm fairly scientific.
You're on the scientific side, yeah.
I like science. I like science tweets.
They're great, and they can be really smart. And I think that's really nice when they are. And he has a last question here. It's, is your real last name McGark?
Well, no, it's not. My real last name is Cactus.
Whoa! Meow, 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 meow. Dave Cactus. All right. So thank you very much, Dave, for those awesome questions. And a follow-up question from Jeff Whitney. And his question is, science?
And the answer is yes.
Yes. I thought you would just be nodding silently. That was my guess is what your answer would be.
Well, I was nodding silently, but I know that this is radio.
This is an audio format, yes.
Audio format. That's not radio, but it's, yes, audio. So I know you can't see me nodding. So,
so you're definitely nodding science.
I should have said asterisk, nodding, asterisk.
Yeah. To denote action for the listener. All right. So thank you, Jeff, for that question. And this next question comes to us from friend of the show, Rads at Feeling Euphoric. And Rads asks, Toddles, describe your dream date as if you were a raccoon.
Oh, Radsy.
Radsy.
Radsy. Describe your dream date as if you were a raccoon. Well, it would involve a lot of eggs.
That's a secret head nod to our favorite raccoon.
You know him.
Wait, that's the dream date? Just eggs? You gotta flesh it out here. I'm talking about where's the setting? Who? How does it end?
In a nutshell, I'd in an eggshell. I would pick up my date with a lovely corsage of eggs.
Okay.
We'd probably go see a movie about eggs, and or maybe dinner first, eggs, and some after dinner eggs.
Okay, it's like dessert eggs.
So I could go into the details about the eggs. I would need at least a dozen eggs for a date.
That's the date ratio of the number of eggs that you're going to consume or go through on this date?
Yeah.
That seems like it's a reasonable number. It's not absurd.
Eggs are valuable. When you're a raccoon, because I'm going to be going on many dates as a raccoon.
Well, what I need to know is how does this date end? I'm talking a kiss on the lips at the door or maybe more, or less. What is the what's gonna happen? You're a raccoon. You gonna make a move?
I think as a raccoon, I'm gonna make a move. I'm a little bandit. I'm gonna steal a kiss.
Steal a kiss. There you go. And then steal a hard-boiled egg for the trip home.
And then as I give her that hug goodbye, I reach into her bag, take the egg corsage, and pocket that baby.
For later. All right. Well, thank you for the great question, Radzi. And everyone should definitely follow at Feeling Euphoric on Twitter. And this next question comes from a friend of the show, Andrew Nadeau at Andrew Nadeau0. And he asks, what's the story behind the 4 names and how they're broken up? 2 in your handle, 3 in your profile name. So we should say your handle is Todd Williams, the Todd Williams. So those are the 2 names, and then your profile is Todd Papi Carlos.
Right. Yeah. So what's the story behind that? Well, the story behind my name is quite straightforward. Behind my @ name, that's my name.
So how did you get that?
How did I get that? Well, apparently, Williams is, of course, that's my last name, and then Todd, during the period that I was born, there was a huge spike in parents naming their children Todd.
It was the name of the moment.
It was the Todd spike of 66, 67.
It was the hot name. Everyone knew it.
Yeah. There, I've dated myself there.
Dated yourself, everyone. Get at those calculators. Hey-o. All right, so then you have 3 names in your profile name, and one of them is in quotations.
Right. Yeah, so Todd Papi Carlos. So the way this one came around, I think at a certain point, I think my name, my handle was also Todd Williams for a while, but then I wanted to change it just because I didn't want to be too obvious, and I somehow thought that if I changed my handle, that people would know who I was.
Right.
I'd give myself a little less easy to find kind of thing. So I changed it, and I ended up this was I was in a room with some people, and I always made my standard kind of corny puns about something, and there was a throwback to the Magic School Bus. There was a kid on the show who always ended the show with some corny pun, and his name was Carlos, and he'd always go Carlos. So every time I would make a pun, I remember it was paper wash.
Yes.
Paper wash.
Yep.
He would throw in this Carlos gift. Carlos. So it was kind of like I was going to be Uncle Carlos or something like that, and somehow I chose Papi Carlos.
That's great. Yeah, I remember those Magic School Bus episodes. Everyone go check out Carlos and his puns.
So it's like a pretty, silly origin for that name. That's
great origin, and thanks for that great question, Andrew.
Yeah.
All right, next question comes in from Michael at home_halfway. And here comes the age questions. He says, Todd, what is the best part about being 110 years old? You are, you just revealed your age. So everyone go back, hit the calculator. You'll find out his true age, 110 years old.
What's the best part? I would say that knowing that I'm only halfway there.
The best part is the years to come.
That's right. I know I have another 110 to go.
Yeah. Here's to the next 110. All right. So, thank you very much, Michael. And the next question comes in from Marf. I'm talking at Marf Salvador. And he asks, where does he come up with his great ideas? Why is he so funny? How's he so smart? Why is he so handsome? Etc.
Is that Marf's voice?
That's what I imagine Marf sounds like.
Isn't he from England?
Yeah, but that's what Marf Salvador sounds like to me.
Listen, I've listened to some of your shows, and I know that you need very little excuse to break into your English accent. So I'm wondering what happened here.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I just heard it as that.
Okay. Well, these are some very nice questions, and they are in no way set up. Where does he come up with his great ideas?
Yeah.
Why is he so funny? It's genetics probably. Where do I come up with my great ideas? Let's see. Like, can I honestly answer this?
Yeah, please do. You're like up on top of the latest trending topics, right? Like
I
that
find
Trump
that
thing.
I find that I'm good at like skimming so much information and just finding, ideas just pop into my head. And whenever I'm reading things, and so sometimes I have to like I'm reading something or I'm even reading tweets and I think of a tweet from it and I go, I can't tweet that because it's just too, so it's too inspired by that. But I, read newspaper articles, not newspaper, web, internet articles or,
you have one remaining article.
Exactly. I have to get a tweet
Paywall.
of one remaining article. Yeah. So, I just, things just pop up. I don't like, if I'm looking for a particular topic, like I do occasionally, I go to like some stumbling sites, Stumble Upon or something where you can put in a topic and it just, it could be like, I don't know, chemistry, and it'll just give you chemistry articles, and then just the headline just will generate an idea.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So something like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I was always wondering about how different people have that process of how they get inspired, or if they just like are sifting through news and all like this information and data or not, or if they're just sort of daydreaming and something comes to them. I'm always interested to hear how people these weird and wild tweets get thought up. So very good question, Mark.
Like, there's some some rooms that you're in occasionally where people give prompts, and it's just great. Where they're riffing and biffing.
You gotta riff. You gotta. Everyone riffs. You gotta use spoonerisms.
Yeah, and I love the silly stuff all the way up to the.
So thank you very much, Marf. And now the next question comes to us from our favorite space raccoon, Benjamin at Upside Down Trash, and friend of the show, Will, asks why.
Why?
Yeah.
Why, Will? The answer is why not?
Oh, hey, there you go. So thank you very much, Will. And Will actually framed his question like I tweeted a call for questions, and Will's tweet is, yeah, I have one. Why? That's how it should be read. But the question is just why. So thanks, Will. Great question. And thank you, Todd. Why not? All right, let's keep this question train rolling with the next question from friend of the show, Brandon at Le Bear Girdle. Everyone go check out his episode and his story about the food challenge. All right.
Oh, yeah, I heard that.
It was great. All right, now his question is, Todd, my dad wants to know how, at the age of 142, you still look so young. Your age has jumped. It's 32 years in this question from the last question.
I know. I know. These guys, I guess it's an original number for this question. Brandon, you know what it is? It's I'm gonna do a throwback to an earlier episode I listened to with Isabel Zotten. She was on, and her she was asked a similar question about how she kept herself looking so young, and her answer was Vaseline.
Oh yeah, that was a great tip.
And it's worked because I've gone looking 142 to 110.
Right, yeah.
So yeah.
Very good. Yes, and everyone should go check out that episode and be following Isabel at Isabel Zatun on Twitter. All right. Nice. Now the next question comes in from Llama in a Tux. And our favorite llama asks, yes, I'd like to know who his favorite Canadian Prime Minister ever is, and if he could beat them in a fight.
My favorite Canadian
Prime Minister ever, and could you take them?
Can I take them?
1v1.
Well, I don't think a lot of people know a lot of the Canadian Prime Ministers, but as a Canadian, I know a number of them. And I think one that stands out probably is based on name alone is William Lyon Mackenzie King.
Okay, yeah.
You know, he's got the Lion King in his name.
Yes, he does.
William Lyon Mackenzie King. So he's just awesome.
Good name. You think you can take him though?
Do I think I could take him? Well, yeah. He's no longer with us.
I guess that's true. So there you go. Thank you very much for that interesting question, fellow Canadian Llama in a Tux.
Little CanCon there.
Little CanCon moment. Thank you. And yes, CRTC going to keep me on the air. Next question comes from our favorite anagrammist, Thomas Brendel at the Solemn Bard, and his anagram of your name is a laptop discord. A laptop discord. And that is an anagram of Todd Pappy Carlos.
Oh.
And his question is, what is the most interesting disagreement you have had with someone online?
Most interesting disagreement.
I guess we're not talking about those Trump trolls.
Well, I'm trying to think,
Those aren't very interesting.
Yeah, they're not very interesting. They're mostly just kind of argumentative. Interesting disagreement. I'm pressed. I knew I should have read these questions beforehand.
Oh, that's okay.
I was trying to be
if nothing
spontaneous,
comes to mind, we
interesting
can
disagreement.
nothing. We'll come back to it if we think of one. Thanks again, Thomas, for that great question. All right, now the next question comes in from just a guy pretending to be a duck online, and Druck asks, if you suddenly became a dog, what are the first things you would A, chase, and B, chew on? Great question.
Well, we have some great dogs in our neighborhood. I'd probably chase a bunch of those dogs around.
Chase other dogs.
Chase other dogs.
Show me, chase other dogs.
Yeah.
Ding.
And I would chew on everything.
The first thing that you came across?
I would chew on shoes. I would chew on sticks. I would chew on banisters. I would chew anything.
In your history of dogs, is that a common occurrence?
No, but
but you're a bad dog.
Well, I just figured, why not? I'm going to go for it.
You're going to go ham as a dog. All right, well, thank you very much for that question, Druck. And this next question comes to us from Shen the Bird at Shen_the_bird. And the question is, would you rather only be able to open doorknobs with your mouth, or instantly switch voices with Donald Duck whenever you get an erection?
That's an interesting. So I can either open doorknobs with my mouth, or I
instantly switch voices with Donald Duck whenever you become erect.
Well, I think I'll probably go with the Donald Duck erection thing.
Okay, interesting.
Because opening a doorknob with my mouth would just be socially unacceptable. I just I wouldn't be able to. I'd be walking through the mall or through the underground parking lot, and then I'd have to put my mouth on a doorknob, and the guy behind me would be like, "What?"
Yeah, and you'd be
Either
sick
I'd have to wait
all the
out
time.
the door until somebody else opened it.
Yeah. Well, I guess good answer.
So I don't want to do that. So the Donald Duck thing.
Donald Duck sounds fine.
Like when I'm not doing a lot of talking when I have an erection. I don't think.
I guess not. There you go.
Are we having long discussions with our erections? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
So you just wake up in the morning with Donald Duck voice?
The alarm goes off.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that interesting conundrum, Shen the Bird.
Yeah.
Next question comes in from Ollie at OJ Edge. And
Ollie.
He asks, Todd, do you have to? It's like a fun question. It's like a joke. It's a fun question.
Well, Uli. And I know it's Ollie, but we have this ongoing. Our discussions are always adding all of these O's to each other's names for some reason. So obviously he says, "Tood, do you have to?" And my answer is, Uli, I do.
Uli and the Tood, mornings on KX5P.
Welcome to Uli and the Tood. You're on.
All right, thank you very much, Uli. And the next question comes to us from Reverend Scott at Reverend_Scott. And he asks, what motivates Todd to continue tweeting despite lacking the ability to produce good or even average content? Oh, it's a burn quest.
Well, I don't read it that way. I read it as what motivates Todd to continue tweeting despite only being able to do above average and great content.
Their brain just changed the question.
Well, I don't have the ability. No, I agree with him. I don't have the ability to do average or good.
Got it.
Or go.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, you lack the ability to produce good or average content. It's all above that. Yes, I see how you flipped it. Okay.
Thanks a lot, Scott. I appreciate your
the way you framed the question left it open, Scott.
He's flattering me.
Well, you made it through. All right, so the next question comes to us from Boog at Boog Tweets.
Wait a second. Are you breaking into
the radio voice?
Yeah, radio voice.
Yeah, I mean that's part
I love
of
it. No,
part of the question. That's why it's everyone's favorite segment of the podcast. All right, the question.
Can I do the rest of the show in my radio voice?
Yeah, you may. Why weren't you doing this whole thing in your radio voice? All right, the question from Boog is this: when did you first realize I was your best friend?
Just now.
How long you got to suck a tree to get one bottle of maple syrup?
2 weeks.
Why aren't they called the Toronto Maple Leaves?
Because they're here to stay, baby.
Metric system. Stupid?
No.
I should have phrased it. The rest of the question. Metric system. Stupid? Or just a waste of time?
Yes.
Just a waste of time. What was Woodstock like?
Woodstock? He was like a small bird that hung around with Snoopy.
Oh, I thought he meant Woodstock, Ontario.
Oh.
Both great non-answers.
No, I think what it was he was making another old reference.
That was the old joke. And the final question coming in from Boog. Poutine or chili cheese fries?
I'm going to surprise a lot of people here, and I'm going to go with chili cheese fries.
Whoa, that's your American side coming through again.
I guess, yeah.
Great. You've answered all of Boog's tweets, so thank you very much. Next question comes from She's a Real Genius at She's a Real Genius. And she's got 2 words for you, Todd. Groupie stories. Hit us up with all the groupie stories.
The groupie stories.
From
I know She's a Real Genius, Shimmy, and she's told me a couple of groupie stories herself that she was involved in, where she was the groupie. But I don't want to, raise up that stuff. That this is probably too sensitive material to get on there. Groupie story. Here's a great groupie story. My wife of 28 years.
Shout out.
Is I met at a rock and roll show.
No way.
She was watching me play, and hey. And that was enough.
And it was like that Bruce Springsteen video where he brings Courtney Cox on stage.
You got exactly.
And the rest is history. Well, that's cool. So that's like so she's your ultimate groupie, right? So you can say that. Very cool. All right. Thank you very much, Jimmy, for the lovely question. And the next question comes from Danny at Dundlewood. And he asks, Todd, what's the oddest thing you've ever done?
Oddest thing I've ever
Follow-up question, what's the Toddest thing you've ever done?
Well,
you can handle these one at a time.
They might be the same answer for both. I'm not even sure what the oddest thing I've ever done. I've probably I think I've told the story. I quit school to join a rock and roll band.
Yep, that's odd.
I guess that's odd.
It was wacky.
At the time.
Yeah, it's a big step.
Yeah. And that's also the Toddest thing I've ever done.
That is the Toddest thing.
I think I'm answering this correctly.
I don't know if that really counts as the Toddest thing. But thank you very much, Danny, at Dundlewood, for the great questions. And the next question comes from Sumo. Meow, at Sumo Meow on Twitter. And this is actually your cat.
That is my cat, Sumo Meow.
This is your cat. Cat's name is Sumo. Very cute. Great guy. A lot of sassy attitude. Really, he's great. And the question is, where is the treats meow?
Where is the treats meow? Well, he tries this all the time, and I'm not gonna say.
Right, though the treats are hidden somewhere in the house, and you won't let Sumo know. He tried to go through a roundabout way of asking on the podcast, and you didn't fall for it. So sorry, Sumo.
No.
Maybe try creating an alternate account.
That's right.
Without your face on it.
He is a cat. He's not, he could have an alt account.
That's what I mean. I'm telling Sumo, if you're listening right now, alt account is the way to go.
He did it from his regular account.
Yeah, alt account, befriend. It's a long con game. You gotta befriend Todd, get him to follow back, and then you slide in those DMs.
That's right. And he also used his own voice there because he had the meow at the end.
He added the meow.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Sumo, for that question. I think we got
Sumo.
a few more questions here. This one is from Tom at Trojan Sauce.
Oh, okay.
All right, and he asks, "Hi, Todd. Long-time reader, first-time commenter. Who would be your ideal dinner party guest if it was just them, me, and you?"
It would be Tom, myself, and Tom's mother would be I would love to.
Oh.
Tom's mother is a wonderful, I don't know if you've seen, he's posted some videos of her and pictures, and he has discussions about her. She's seems like a wonderful woman. I would just join them for dinner.
She's a lovely, lovely lady, and that would be quaint. That would be very nice.
And I would ask her to thump Tom while I was there.
She'd just give him a little whack, just a bit of a
shall
fuck.
thump you, Tom.
Is that your Tom's mom impersonation?
That's how it would go, yeah.
Love it. Well, Tom has another question here. Would you rather spill milk on your legs so you smell like old milk all day, or have the bolognese inside your shoe for a day and only you know it's there?
Bolognese. I guess that's like sauce, right?
It is a meaty Italian pasta sauce.
I guess I got to go for the bolognese in the shoe.
It's only a day, so I mean, this is a pretty tame would you rather because it's only a 1 day thing. So the old milk is out and bolognese is in. That actually kind of smell good.
Yeah, I think that it'd be nice and warm in your shoe and.
On those cold minus 25 morns, that'd be nice. On the walk to high school, grade 9, Todd would be all over the bolognese in your shoe.
That's right, and I can't afford spilling all that milk. I need it for my hot chocolate and toast in the morning.
You need it. All right. Well, thank you very much, Tom, and apologies on the impression again. And the next question comes to us from our number one top friend of the show, question asker extraordinaire, and also your son, Timmy, at the Timmy Toes. And he asks a couple questions. Number one, when was the last time you locked yourself out of something? Like a car or house, etc.?
Well, I have, it might be a little bit long, but I'll try to make this a quick story. I was at a party at a friend's cottage in the middle of winter, and we couldn't even drive all the way to his cottage, so we had to park our cars like 2 or 3 kilometers from the cottage, and because the roads weren't plowed, we had to trudge through the snow. So this whole gang of people did this. We parked all our cars, and we had a party that night, and we were drinking and music and laughing, and he was on a lake, and the lake was frozen, and we were all out on the lake running around, sliding around. And then in the morning, we get ourselves up and we have to leave. I walk to my car, and my keys aren't in my pocket.
Uh-oh.
And I have to get back to the town. And so I walk back to his cottage to look all around his house. And we look at everywhere, window of his cottage, and I look at this lake, and I think, oh my God, maybe they're out in the lake. So I walk out, and the snow is starting to fall again. So these things are getting covered with snow. And I walk out, and I'm walking and walking and walking on this lake. And I see something in the distance, a little spot, and walk towards it. And there they were, my keys. That I found on the middle of the lake.
Wow. That is like a bad place to lose your keys.
And it's a better place to find them. Like if you imagine finding them.
That's
so I
crazy.
found them, and they were in the middle of this lake that we've been running around like, drunken teenagers. And finding them, it was a miracle.
That is a miracle. That's amazing.
Miracle on ice, in fact.
So how do you do with your keys now? Do you have like a carabiner on them, or do you have a tracker?
Now that I have, I don't even know why they came out of my pocket, to be honest, but I don't do anything different. I don't even know how they came out.
was a fluke, but amazing that you
fluke.
found them. So
Yeah.
that answers question number 1 from Timmy, but question number 2 is yet to come. Now, this question is...
I have a feeling this one's going to be harder to answer.
Now, Timmy says, you are my father, and you make the rules of the household. But can I please come inside to eat dinner with you and the rest of the family instead of my bedroom/garage corner? Timmy.
I thought this was going to be a hard question, but it's very easily. The answer is no, Timmy.
The answer is no. But thank you again. Always great questions from Timmy at the Timmy Toes. Everyone should be following him. And now we get to the very final question, a very special writing question from Travis. I'm talking at Prof_Hinckley. And he asks, what is your favorite color? And also, that is spelled correctly with a U.
What is my favorite color? That's the question?
Yep.
Blue.
Blue, okay. We talking about blueprint blue, navy blue, baby blue, sky blue?
I'm a fan of a lot of the blues, but I would say some nice, deep kind of Mediterranean blue.
Ooh, good blue.
There you go.
Well, Todd, you did it. We made it all the way through all the questions. And again, thank you to everyone who sent in a question to @FOTS Pod on Twitter and for Todd to answer. And he has successfully answered most of them. So,
most of them.
Yeah, I think you missed that one from Thomas Brendel.
Yeah, no, I did.
You got stumped. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
All right, and I wanted to give a very special Beverage Club shout-out to Jess OK Fine and at Too Many Toes, and an honorable mention to Dong Future. So now I think everyone has gotten good shout-outs, and now we may wrap up. We begin to wind down the podcast. Is there anything you'd like to promote or say before I come in with that theme and we say goodbye?
Just follow all those wonderful people who asked me questions there. I follow all those people, I think, most of them, and they're great people. And I'd like to just say I just love your show, Stephen. I listen to all of your episodes. And I take a walk, and I put it on, and it is so enjoyable, and I'm so happy that I finally appeared on it. And keep it up, and everybody loves it, and thank you very much.
Well, Todd, thank you very much. That's very nice of you to say. Really appreciate that. And you were a great guest. It was so nice talking to you. Maybe next time we can do a live one in person. Sure. And I guess that brings us to the end of the show, so thanks for coming out, Todd.
Thank you.
And I will see you online at The Todd Williams.
I will be there.
Catch you in some DMs.
Love it.
All right. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode with Todd. What a nice and funny gentleman. All right, now follow at FOTS Pod and send a question for future guests. It's everyone's favorite part of the show. Be sure to check out at Skinner Steven on Twitter. 9,300 people can't be wrong. Visit StephenWSkinner.com for all the old episodes. And please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Thank you to Ruby Coast for the music. And thanks to Kyle I. Davidson for the theme. And thank you so very much for listening. I am Stephen W. Skinner, urging you to have a great one.